done with the musical? Have you finished your
I'm pretty much done with it. I've got a couple of things to, just a couple more songs to do, and one more to write, and one more to finish. So, but then I should imagine there'll be quite a lot of incidental music and things like that to write once it gets into rehearsal. So I think it's something that I don't do, and maybe that's probably why it seems like a foreign country to me, and I probably shouldn't be doing it. But I've actually enjoyed, because I love the story so much. Of Local Hero, that it seems not too. I've sort of embraced all the characters, and so writing songs for them wasn't as hard as I thought it would be.
Well, is it going to be a fairly close relative of the film, do you think? Or
I hope it's not too close a relative to the film. I think it would be a mistake for the stage to try to ape the film really in any way. I think it should be, especially in a small theatre, which it will be, and it's going to start very modest and very small. I think the more it is its own thing for the stage, the better that will be, because the film is a great film. Everybody knows that it's a great film, and I'm very honoured and glad that it was to be a part of that, and I feel very close to it, and I have an awful lot of affection for it. But I think the musical should try to be something that can stand up by itself on the stage, rather than a copy of, a copy of the film. You'd be really hard pushed then, I think, to the film is so much itself, isn't it?
I mean, you talk about songs. So many of your songs that have taken on lives of their own. Local, Going Home being one of them. I mean, every time Newcastle United take to the field, it's living its own life, isn't it, really? In the way these things.
Yes, I mean, that Going Home theme has been fantastic, and it's tremendous to be at St James's Park when Newcastle come out to that. It's just phenomenal, and at the end, or whenever it is up there, it's and it was great that actually Brendan Foster used it for the Great North Run as well. That was a thrill that he did that. So that's been unbelievably exciting for me. That as part of as a Geordie. So that's wonderful. Yeah.
I don't know how many of your friends are Liverpool fans, but this does lead me to another track on the album, which is the one, Just a Boy Away From Home, in which something extraordinary happens. A couple of minutes in. Can you explain what?
Yeah, well, Just a Boy Away From Home was, it really was inspired by something that happened to my dad. He'd had a heart attack shortly after he retired, and he was in the hospital. He was in Newcastle General Hospital, which is, as any Geordie will know, is very close to the football ground, and very close to St James's Park. And he said he was lying at night feeling a bit sorry for himself. It must have been very late, and he was feeling down, as you do when you've had a heart attack, I suppose. It's probably won't be very long now, and he heard a lad walking on the street outside, and he was singing "You'll Never Walk Alone," and I, of course, thinking about it over the years, I realised that, of course, he was a Liverpool fan, and he'd been to the match, he'd been to the match, or maybe he got. Who knows? He might have missed it somehow, and because he was. I don't know which direction he was going. Whether he was heading back down into town or heading out towards the town moor. I really don't know. But it's fantastic, just that he was there in Newcastle singing that, his song, but my dad found it inspiring, the bravery of it and the spirit of it, So I just thought, and it tied up with, I sort of tied it up with for me, with the song, with being a kid in, not understanding things, but it can mean something else later on. So, I mean, and that's why I was talking about the asylum, the mental hospital near where we lived, and we used to just call it the loony bin. Now, that's what we called it. Everybody called it that. All the kids called it that. And I used to use it as a place to just to make a shortcut between two streets, in the middle of the night or whenever. Never saw anybody in there, and when you're a kid, you're so busy getting on with your life, you don't really think about that sort of thing. And it's only later in life you start to think about the souls in those kind of, and I mean, you do, when you have more experience of that kind of life, more experience of life, that you kind of understand those things a little bit more. And then you understand things about that, you can have dreams, and that some dreams are going to crash and burn, and so I just tied the two things together, really, and between me and my dad, I suppose just the boy, and then I think the boy away from home is important because he is the Liverpool fan, Just to let people know that there's no doubt about that he was a Liverpool fan, and right outside right outside the ground, and on his own in the middle of the night, good for him. The Geordies are such great people, there's no way that in fact, if he was lost or anything like that, I mean, there's any one of a number of people would have helped him out and got him to the station and, sorted him out.
You're still going to get some stick from Geordie people.
I don't think so.
Don't you think so?
No.
When you made that reference, the lyrical reference in that song, and then there's a phrase, and as I'm listening, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, he's going to do the whole thing. Did you know that when you said about it?
No.
It just felt good to.
It just felt good to play it on the slide, And I thought I've started, so I might as well finish. It's fun for the band to play, So it's just what it is. Yeah.
There are 2 or 3 songs at least on there which have characters in them that are, the sort of people I always think you admire, working men and women, working class usually, doing particular trades or skills.
Well, Trapper Man, actually, it's really, to me, it's more a song about the music business, for me, but it might be, it's whatever it is for you, I mean, I think, to me, the people who actually work, most people who work in the management side, or they're running the record companies or running the agencies or whatever they're doing, they're essentially wind sniffers because they're trying to gauge. You can't blame them for it. Well, they're just trying to gauge how popular something is. A promoter is all he's trying to do is gauge how popular somebody is so he can make a gamble on selling tickets. And that's what they do. And that's just a way of me saying, well, I do what I do, and, you do what you do. That's what essentially that song is about, for me.